Let's see how much the cast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show made from the film, and what their net worth looks like today. We'll kick things off with Rocky Horror himself. Peter Hinwood, who played the sculpted and silent Adonis, wasn't an actor by trade, he was a model. His role demanded more posing than dialogue, and his pay reflected that. Even his voice was dubbed in post-production. But being immortalized as the perfect man of Dr. Frankenfurter's creation became his unexpected claim to fame. He soon left acting behind, moving into antiques dealing in London. Turns out, he made a lot more money selling 18th century furniture than flexing muscles. Nell Campbell, credited as Little Nell, brought infectious energy to Columbia, the tap-dancing groupie. She had been performing cabaret in London when she joined the cast, and her salary reflected the low-budget nature of the production. What she didn't earn in money, she gained in visibility. Her performance, paired with her musical talent, helped her land further roles and even a recording contract. Over time, Nell became a staple of Rocky Horror fan events, keeping the character alive for generations. It was a quirky start that turned into a defining chapter of her career. Patricia Quinn's portrayal of Magenta remains one of Rocky Horror's most iconic visuals, especially her lip-synced opening to science fiction double feature. At the time, she was an emerging actress balancing TV and theater, and the film's pay was modest. Yet, that eerie stare and crimson hair made her a cult favorite. The fame came years later, as conventions and anniversary screenings brought her devoted fans. She's since embraced that connection fully, turning a small 1970s paycheck into a lifetime of recognition in the cult film community. Jonathan Adams, who portrayed the eccentric Dr. Everett Scott, was primarily a theater actor before Rocky Horror. The paycheck wasn't significant, but the exposure introduced him to international audiences. His booming energy and comic precision made his scenes memorable even in a film overflowing with outrageous personalities. Although Adams later returned to television and stage work, his association with Rocky Horror remained his most recognizable screen credit. The movie's cult success may not have changed his finances dramatically, but it guaranteed his place in one of cinema's most unique ensembles. Charles Gray, the man with the magnifying glass and that oh-so-serious tone. He brought a sense of British gravitas to the bizarre world of Rocky Horror as the narrator. He was already an established actor known as a James Bond villain, so financially speaking, this wasn't his biggest gig, but culturally immense. His poised delivery gave the film structure, or at least the illusion of it. For Gray, it was another eccentric credit in a distinguished career. Sadly, he passed in 2000, but his narration is immortal. Before he became a rock legend, Meatloaf was already belting his lungs out on stage in the Rocky Horror Show. The film gave him a small but unforgettable role as Eddie. He sang one song, crashed a motorcycle, and basically stole the show. That one sequence, though brief, added raw energy to the film and turned him into a cult hero. It didn't pay him big money, but it gave him visibility that helped launch his legendary Bat Out of Hell album just 2 years later, which made him a superstar and eventually a multimillionaire. Barry Bostwick's Brad Majors, a hero as the film describes him, marked his transition from stage to screen. Fresh off Broadway's success with Grease, he took a pay cut to join a strange, low-budget musical that few expected to succeed. Bostwick later enjoyed a steady TV career, including his award-winning role in Spin City. Though Rocky Horror wasn't his financial breakthrough, it gave him a lifelong connection to one of cinema's most loyal fan bases. He's now sitting comfortably in the millions, proof that square jaws pay off. When Susan Sarandon joined the project, she was still early in her career and eager to make her mark. Playing Janet Weiss meant long, cold nights of filming in a drafty mansion, all for a paycheck that didn't come close to Hollywood rates. She got pneumonia during filming, but it was worth it. Rocky Horror put her on major studios' radar. Fast forward to today, an Oscar win, a long career, and about $60 million in the bank. She definitely touched success. When Tim Curry stepped into Dr. Frankenfurter's corset, it wasn't just a role, it became his identity in pop culture. He played the part multiple times on stage before filming, which helped him refine every nuance. That performance defined the movie. The paycheck wasn't life-changing, but the exposure was. At the time, Curry was still relatively unknown in the US, and Rocky Horror catapulted him into international fame and opened the door to his later Hollywood roles. Jim Sharman, the film's director and co-writer, was already familiar with the Rocky Horror Show from staging it in London. His film paycheck was small compared to typical Hollywood directing fees, but this project was a passion piece. Sharman helped transfer the stage show's chaotic energy to film, something few thought could work. His direction defined the cult aesthetic that made Rocky Horror immortal. Financially, it didn't pay off right away, but the movie's midnight success later secured his legacy. And finally, Richard O'Brien, the mastermind behind the masterpiece. Before Rocky Horror, he was just a struggling actor with an idea too wild for mainstream theater. He wrote the Rocky Horror Show while unemployed, never imagining it would become a global phenomenon. When the film was made, his salary as Riff Raff wasn't remarkable, but his royalties as the creator became his long-term reward. Personally, the movie's success validated years of creative risk-taking. Financially, he didn't strike gold overnight, but the cult following ensured he'd earn from revivals, soundtracks, and licensing for decades. O'Brien's creation became his enduring legacy and livelihood. Wow, you're still here? That means you enjoyed the show. So how about another ride? The next one might just blow your mind.